Hey everyone, I'm Josh, and in this video I want to discuss how people who fall in the LGBTQ spectrum are often more mentally strong than most people out there. I know that even me saying that will immediately trigger the people who fall into that not so mentally strong category. And oh well, if that's the case, sucks for them. But this is really true, because think about this. People who fall in the LGBTQ spectrum get ostracized a ton by society. In fact, there are people out there who literally want to kill them just because they have that different way of living their lives, that different sexuality. Why does that matter? Why is it such a problem? But anyway, just the fact that people have to have a ton of courage to be authentic to themselves when they're on that spectrum should tell you everything you need to know about how mentally strong they are. Having the courage to come out in a world that is very much against them still for mind-blowing reasons because of a lot of closed-minded people out there. If they're not harming themselves or other people, why the hell does it matter if someone is on the LGBTQ spectrum? Like seriously, tell me, how is that a problem? They're not harming themselves or others. What are they doing wrong? Let me know, because I'd love to hear it. And don't use religion as an excuse, because that is utterly asinine. And all the people who claim to follow Jesus's teachings, Jesus would be accepting of people on the LGBTQ spectrum. He would. So if you claim to follow Jesus and yet you're anti-LGBTQ, you ain't following Jesus. You're not following the teachings of your God. You're doing some weird bastardization of it that probably some guy wrote just because he wants to control others. But anyway, sorry, I'm getting carried away. It's just annoying to me how they deal with this much hate in the world still. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But again, this clarifies, this shows how they're mentally strong. Imagine having to live in a world that is constantly saying that your existence is bad or there's something wrong with you, and still having the courage to be authentic to yourself, to still, be out of the closet and that kind of thing, to live truly to your nature. These people have immense inner strength. I just want everyone who's watching this, who's on the LGBTQ spectrum, please understand this. Please realize this. You guys are incredibly strong. If you're out of the closet, holy crap, you guys are so strong, especially if you came from a family that had those stupid religious values that made them against you and other things like that. If you're living in an area where you can get ostracized just because of who you are, and you still live despite that, and you're still out of the closet embracing your true nature, that is beautiful. You are so freaking strong. Like, seriously. And interestingly enough, since I'm straight myself, I didn't quite empathize with LGBTQ people on this level until I had experience with them. I've got some friends who I really care about. They're awesome people who fall on the spectrum. And also, by now, I've even coached a few clients who fall on the spectrum. And every single time, I'm amazed at just how strong these people are. They're incredibly strong. Because again, a lot of them came from families where their parents weren't accepting of them, and maybe even their siblings or teachers. They were bullied while growing up. That's incredibly common, and other crap like that. So just the fact that you guys are all able to live in the face of that, to still be strong, to still be authentic, that's huge. It's so beautiful. And yeah, I'll always argue that people on the LGBTQ spectrum are more mentally strong than the average person, because the average person doesn't deal with any of that. They don't have to deal with being ostracized on a daily basis. They don't have to deal with all that hate speech that gets thrown their way. They don't have to deal with people literally threatening their lives and wanting to kill them just because of who they are. Like, think about that. That's insane. It's ridiculous how this is the way the world is. And yet LGBTQ people still have the courage to be who they are in the face of all that. To still show up, even knowing that other people are going to get triggered by their presence alone. It's crazy. So yeah, if you're on the LGBTQ spectrum, you have so much strength. And I just want you to know there are still a lot of other people out there who understand this, who see you guys and admire you for just being yourselves, for having the courage to be authentic in this really messed up world. And hopefully things are getting better over time. We are seeing some of that in terms of people's opinions of LGBTQ folks and that kind of thing. Like, it does seem like there's more acceptance in the world in general now. I know the US is kind of going backwards right now thanks to Trump, and that's stupid as hell, but even then it's still hopefully only around 30% of the population. There's still the other more than 60% who, I imagine a lot more of those people are becoming accepting of LGBTQ folks because they understand, again, if they're not harming themselves or other people, why does it matter? Why is it a problem? Just because some people get triggered by them because of their own insecurities? Like, all those Republicans who happen to be in the closet. There's a lot of you hear about the stories of like whenever there's a Republican National Convention meeting, there's a lot of activity on Grindr, and yet a lot of those men claim to be straight. So yeah, there's probably a lot of people out there who get triggered by LGBTQ people just because they know that they have the courage to be themselves when the haters, maybe they're in the closet. They don't have that courage, that mental strength to be who they want to be because, again, they're probably raised in like a traditional conservative family who has those ridiculous views. They would get basically shunned by their family if they were to come out of the closet. So they live in denial of their true nature. And yeah, there's a lot of venom from people like that because they envy the ones who are out of the closet, who have that courage to just be themselves. So there you go. But that's pretty much the gist of what I wanted to cover in this video, just that most LGBTQ people are so much more mentally strong than the average person. And I really want you all to realize that, to understand it, to know it, to remind yourselves of it. Because, yeah, I mean, for real, for all the people who aren't on that spectrum, like, just think about that. Think about living in a world that essentially doesn't want you to exist. How would you feel? And then know that there's a group of people who are doing just that, who have the mental strength to keep showing up every day, to stay true to themselves and their authentic nature, and to not let the world stop them from making the most of this one shot at life that they have right now. So they're incredibly strong, and I just want them to know that. But that's all I have for this video. I truly hope it was, I don't know if it was helpful. Hopefully it was helpful, but I just feel like I just wanted to share some positive words for that crowd, especially knowing that it's like Pride Month and whatnot, and the way the US is going backwards. So yeah, hopefully it was helpful. But that's all I have for you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Arrivederci.